Gage dominated once again. That's 14 straight scoreless innings for him. How big is just, being able to locate his fastball, put it wherever he wants, how big is that for him?
Yeah, it just changes everything. He's got great pitch mix and hitting his stride, he obviously got off to a great start this season and, got through the bumps and he's rolling pretty good.
That swing from Milwaukee there, was that a big thing? It felt at the time like probably one of the biggest hits you guys have had in conference play this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just
Yeah.
somebody like him to kind of stay on top of it when his opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Just the way he's caught the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's a big part of our team, has been since I've been here. And, I think the story that's a big hit, and you're right. When we've gotten those, we've won. And, they were hard to come by during that difficult stretch. But the story is, he's caught the last 3 games and we've given up 2 runs. And he contributes to that.
And just to sort of piggyback off that question, that hit was also gave you the ability to save Griffin for later in the series. Like how big was that?
Yeah, technically Ashton's hit did that because at 4-0 Griffin was coming in the game.
Oh.
So yeah, the couple leads that we've lost here, we weren't going to mess around with it. But when it got to 5, and the way Christian's been throwing the ball, he threw the ball exceptional on Tuesday. Might have been a footnote in a 9-0 midweek shutout. And I felt like we had him slotted right, perfect spot in the lineup, perfect spot in the game. And, him trending the way that he is that's a game changer for our team.
Seems like early in league play, first 2 or 3 innings, you guys would trade, the opposing team would be the one to kind of strike first. How good was it for you guys after those first 2 or 3 innings to be the team to strike first?
I really like, that's important. That's definitely an important stat in college baseball. What I like is we're getting better as the game is going along. And I actually, for as tough a pitching as you'll see when the Major League Draft happens, how difficult that stretch that we played was. But what I like we're doing now is we're getting better as the game goes along. And we were struggling with that early on. Part of it is we were seeing exceptional talent out of the bullpen with guys that were getting their feet wet in SEC play. And, it's something we've got to continue to get better at, and we are right now. So I think that's a real positive.
Gage said that it's his job to really set the tone. How does him having a performance like he did tonight really set things up for Luke going into tomorrow?
I think, you keep throwing up zeros. That's just going to give you a chance to win. I'd say bullpen, a little bit. I'm using 2 guys, on game 1. Big deal. So I think that helps. So logistically, it helps. I think from an execution standpoint, hitters are human beings. They feel better coming to the park after a 2 or 3 hit day than they go for 4. And so, hopefully it gets them, moving the bat, out of the zone and, makes it easier for the rest of the guys all weekend. And he's a really talented dude. And like I said, it's really starting to show. I'm not surprised by any of it. And I'm not surprised by any of what he's had to get through to get to this point. But he's really good.
Obviously, we talked about Christian a little bit earlier, but what's sort of been the key to his, recent success?
I think he stayed focused. That's a very boring answer, but I really think he stayed focused, and he cares tremendously. He has a lot of pride in his performance. He has a lot of pride in our team, and I think I heard Alex say something about not packing it in. He's one of the guys that's helped the team not do that. You know what I mean? And so you got this individual improvement, you got this high care level, mix that together, and he's super talented. Won't surprise me if he's a major league pitcher someday. And I'm really, really happy to see that. He's been good for us when we've set him up good this year. He's been really good for us, and I think it's kind of flown under the radar because our team, struggled for 5 weeks. Most of his season's been really positive. We tried to use him twice on a weekend, back-to-back days, because I thought we could get to what we're getting to now. And he had an outing that wasn't very good. His numbers are far better than whatever the stat line says, or his performance, is far better than whatever the stat line says right now. And that's a big deal for our team if he continues to do that. And he's done it a few times in a row now.
Offensively, what was the biggest difference in the game, over in that 7th inning compared to, say, the first 3 or 4 innings of the game?
Yeah, I thought Watts made some good pitches. Like, I thought he had some deception. I thought he was running the fastball up to the top, pitching off the breaking ball really, really well. He was landing it in the zone, and then lowering just a little bit out of the zone. I just didn't think we were picking him up great in the first few innings. I thought we had a good plan, but it was looking tougher than I thought that it should have been. So looking at his pitches, I think he pitched well. It's great to have strong dudes. Tommy, he made one mistake. He didn't make a mistake till like the fourth inning. Like, he was really executing, and he hit it out. And then Hayden, 3-2 count right there, strong, and the wind was really blowing out that way today. And that's really the first time in a while that's been the case. It's usually been going the other way. So good for him for being like 29 years old and strong and pushing that thing out. And then that inning was great. I think that Armstrong is tough. Like, that's a tough look for right-handed hitters. And then Tommy immediately stayed on a ball, hit it up the middle. Hayden did the same thing. Braswell hit the ball the other way, laid off some bad pitches, and then we didn't get the guy in with one out and a man on third, and then Alex picked us up, and that's a really, really good thing. And it's a big at bat, obviously, in the game.
You talk about getting better as the game goes on and how that's sort of been a shift for you guys lately. What has been the biggest contributing factor to that?
Good question. I think just growing up, getting outside of yourself sometimes in your own failure. It's just staying with the game. I think we have a lot of competitive guys, and sometimes they forget that the game, as an offensive player, is designed for you to fail 70% of the time. There's no other sport like it in that regard. It pushes your toughness. And we've had some guys that have had to break out of that deal and just stay with baseball. And again, it is what it is. But we've played a really difficult schedule, and when you're fighting yourself a little bit, and you're fighting the game, and you're fighting a good opponent, it's really hard. And so you leave some guys on base. And, better late than never, if we're growing out of that, but it's been tough.
You mentioned that mental toughness to the offensive side. It seems like every time y'all start out in the slump, it's one of the main guys that get y'all out, Hayden, Tommy, Jared. How does that kind of veteran play, put a good example for the young guys?
Well, you can't win in the SEC without old players. It's not happening. Like, you all can do the research. And Tommy's the only one that played wire to wire last year. Jared, I would consider that because he pretty much did, But he's so much better now. Both of them are better now. I don't know what Tommy's stat line did, but there's a couple really old players that were on base all the time that fed some of that. But he's better today than he was at this time last year. That's saying an awful lot. I think Hayden's improved. It's his first year of his career where he's played every day, and he's staying with it, and which is great. And Jared has really improved. Like, he has really improved, and it helps. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to not answer your question.
Not sure if you're too much of a superstitious kind of coach, but do you think the Raleigh boo-boo, the guy getting hit on the head, kind of did anything for y'all?
100%, yeah. We got a big fat head of him in the locker room.
It's probably for the best that Tommy hit a home run to part of the ballpark no one can sit, right?
Yeah. Tommy hit him in the head, and we're going to take off now.
Gage mentioned something that I thought was really fascinating. He said he can recognize swings. Is that an ability that he's always kind of had, and how he sort of
baseball through and through? And I've been in love with this dude since he was like 15 years old. I was like, I have to get this. I tried to offer him like 5 scholarships in Arizona. I was like, that dude is going to be the best pitcher in college baseball someday. And he might get through the draft because of the size thing. And he got hurt. And so he's just a little bit delayed in that. But tonight, there's nobody around the country that pitched better than that tonight. And last week, nobody around the country pitched better than that. And that's obviously a huge lift for our team. And super proud of him for staying with it. And it's been a long time coming. But I'm the least surprised person in the country of what I've seen the last 2 weeks out of him.
We talked a lot about guys who, have had like this innate ability to really, pay attention to all the small details, like Paul last year, Thatcher really the last 2 years. Would you put him sort of in that category?
The care level's high, the work ethic's outstanding. He just needs to pitch. like he needs to pitch, and you know, he needed to pitch to just get moving, and he showed his talent really quickly, you know, in the season, and then he needed to. You see how good he is. He's had probably very little adversity in his life. He played at one of the best high schools in the country. Sometimes with those guys aren't on base enough for them to have to develop, you know, any kind of, I don't want to call it toughness, but getting through difficulty. That's one of the biggest struggles we have with young pitchers is, I mean, literally pitching the stretch, managing the running game, fielding their position, being able to go to a different pitch sequence 2 and 3 times through the order. And then, I mean, we're at Mississippi State, we're up 9-1, and guys are hitting the ball over the fence off him, and I could see it on his face. He's like, this has never happened before. You know what I mean? And it hadn't. I mean, it hadn't. But now I think he's gotten past that, and he's doing a great job.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you,
All right,
Coach.
thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.